Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'll be talking about gratefulness. Gratefulness is like the feeling or showing an appreciation for like kindness. We should be very thankful because of how many things and blessings Allah has gave us. For example, He has given us the earth. Well, that's just an encompass, like just accompanying the whole, all so many blessings, hundreds, if not thousands, actually just thousands, hundreds of thousands. He has given us water, food, and many more. I would like to give some examples on why we should be grateful and relate to like people back then and just everything else. I've been watching this show called Alone, and what it's about is that these people have been put into to compete for $1 million. They've been put into the wild, and I believe it's in Antarctica or somewhere like very cold, Alaska or something. And they're chose to bring certain like items and coats and whatever and cameras just for the show. And during the show, they're realizing how grateful they have to be because what they're going through because it's just it's crazy because they already know they're professionals at this and they already know what to do in certain things that are happening. And so when you look at that and they're all, you just look at that and they're all, how do I put it? Trying to find the word for it. They're just shocked, because it's so hard to find food, to catch food, and it's taking up all their stamina. And they already know, like, oh, if they don't have fat enough for their, enough fat, they won't be thinking properly. If they don't have enough protein, they need to have so many things. And they already know this. And this is today. So imagine the people back then, and for example, like the Stone Age, where people back then would have to live in a very nomadic lifestyle. They had to follow the herd, because today we're wondering like, oh, like where are we gonna get food today? Like, oh, let's go over here. Back then they're wondering how to get food. You know what I mean? Like, oh, where is the food? Or where does this grow? But very back then, like the Stone Age. And they had to just live a very nomadic lifestyle, follow the herd and whatever. And it was very tiring. And so it's like purely Allah's will that they survived, back then, because it's like very, very hard to live that way. And so that's why we should be grateful for the food we have. Another example I'd like to bring is that we are living in a country or America where where Muslims is not very dangerous to be a Muslim in America, which is amazing, because even in some countries today, you'd get punished severely just for being Muslim. For example, China, you know, but back then it was a lot more not common, but it was more probable, if if you will. So since we live in America and like all the freedom, we have rights and whatever, we should be very thankful that we live in a country or a world where Muslims are more accepted. Because like back then, like here's the thing that makes me like go nuts. Well, not nuts, but you know what I mean. Just it's mind blowing. Prophet Moses had to open up the whole sea so Muslims can be safe. And there's like many more examples where it had to go to that, just for Muslims to be safe. We should also be thankful that the hadith and Quran are here to teach us about Islam and to warn us, to teach us about the past civilizations and what their mistakes and how we shouldn't repeat those same mistakes. We also, and one big blessing we have today is the internet, because back then in the Islamic golden age, You know, one of their biggest things that they're like known for is having a library, which today is like there's like a library like not even a mile away from here. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing big today. But back then, is like having a library. You know, scholars would go like across, you know, to get to those libraries because it was hard to make books, you know, and then to have a library is very, very special back then. But we had the internet where it's like we have like hundreds, if not thousands, if not actually like millions of just sources we can go to, you know, and find out stuff. And not only that we had the internet, but the we also have books too because what's it called, inventions and whatever. So that's also a very big blessing. You know, my dad did a little an activity, um, if you will, like an activity where in his head he was thinking of all the blessings. He told me about this story. And it's very interesting because he just sat down and thought of all the blessings that Allah has given us, and he couldn't have come to an end. I believe he told me he was like spent like 20 minutes just sitting there, which is crazy because like he's probably not even at the like not even close to the end of it when you think about it, because it was only 20 minutes. I would also like to bring up the term breaking bread, like breaking bread, which relates to the beginning of this khutbah or bayan, if you will, about food. But breaking bread, if the term is like I broke bread with you, you know, because back then, today it's like if you give someone food, like, oh, come in, we have food, you know, it's not too big of a deal because we have such an like overabundance of food, alhamdulillah, at least in today. But back then, you had to like earn your food, you know what I mean? Like you can't just get food from like like a couple blocks or whatever, you know, just not even that far in its pay, you know, a bit. They had to earn it, you know, and just spend so much time and energy to get it. And so when you invite someone into your home and then giving them your food is a big thing and very honorable thing. So that's why we should be grateful. This khutbah or bayan was a little short, but I would like to end it that we should just be grateful. Alhamdulillah.